Minister of Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment, Bernice Swarts, is leading a government campaign to plant 1 million trees this Wednesday on the 24th of September. The trees will be planted on the same day on Wednesday in all of the 9 provinces in the country. Deputy Minister Bernice Swarts now joins us in studio to tell us more about this amazing project and greening the country. How are you, Deputy Minister? And thanks for joining us.
I'm very well, thank you. Good morning to you as well.
Great. And I feel like I know the answers to these questions already because we've been in conversation before coming on the air. But for our viewers, is it possible to plant 1 million trees in one day? Similar projects have been done in Guinea. We were talking about Guinea just now, them having hosted a referendum on Sunday. And the Philippines also on an international front are some examples.
Yes, it is possible. And indeed, we have looked at all other countries because throughout the world, as part of the Great Green Wall, everybody is planting trees. And our president launched this in 2021 and the department started implementing it in the year 2022. By then, the president was envisaging that we'll do 10 million trees over a period of 5 years at 2 million trees per year. But because of budget, it was not possible. And when I arrived at the department, I said to them, let us turn around the strategy. And we started in April to say, let us first have a 1 employee, 1 tree program where we mobilize all employees around government. It took us about time because we had to mobilize the unions to first buy in and get our DDG to also speak to the bargaining council. Once that was done, we launched it and we used the slogan, my tree, my oxygen, plant yours today. Because we said that what South Africans must just understand in simple terms is that the oxygen that we breathe comes from trees. And then we translated that into all the official languages. We then went out to all industry. When we say all industry, our view was that we want all South Africans to participate. But we first went to the culprits, the contractors, the estate developers. We went to Eskom. We went to the Council of Minerals. We went to everybody in the mining industry. And we went to universities. And we are sitting at a stage where so many people have come on board, NGOs, NPOs, to say that we've got so many trees to donate. We also went out to the resident ambassadors in the country. So we have got Terrace, who also donated 8,000 trees to us as an embassy. And we have got the Dean of Corps through the regions that have also donated trees to us. They're also participating. They participated. But how do you plant 1 million trees in one day? We then said we will divide it into 115,000 trees per province. And because we have got 9 departments in the provinces, our MECs are participating. We as a department have got regional offices within all the provinces. But where do you plant these trees? Because we don't want to just plant trees for the purposes of planting and for the purposes of counting 1 million trees. We then said we'll identify what we call safe spaces, which is our early learning development centers, primary schools, high schools, police stations, hospitals, old age homes, orphanages, and correctional services centers, because they are going to adopt the trees. We will monitor the trees every 3 months to check on their progress, but they will adopt the trees because these trees will now be in safe spaces, because in the schools you already have people who are looking after the school grounds and the gardens. In the hospitals, clinics, you also have the general workers that take care of the gardens also there. So we know that our trees will be in safe spaces because we want, when we go back, the trees must be there. But we must talk about why are trees important and why we must not cut trees, because trees are important in all the aspects. Like I have said, that we get shades from the trees, we get fruits from the trees, because the president said 60% of the trees that we plant must be fruit trees, because it must also talk to the food security program. And then 40% of the trees must be indigenous trees. And we know that our late President Nelson Mandela launched the yellowwood tree as our South African indigenous tree. So most importantly, that is the indigenous tree that we are planting. But but all other trees as well. And we have done a scientific data research study through our researchers at our South African Institute of National Biodiversity, which is one of our entities. Because of climate change and its impact on the environment, there are trees that no longer grow in some of the provinces. For example, the citrus farmers in Mpumalanga have not had a good harvest over 3 years of lychees because there is no rain. So we know that we will not allow people to start planting lychee trees because they are not catching up properly. So we have done that in all the provinces, and we have told the provinces not this tree but this tree will be able to grow properly, so that we don't just plant an orange tree and after 5 years there's not a single orange on those trees. And we have also formed the relationship with the traditional leaders in the rural areas so that they form communal fruit gardens, because we know that people in the rural areas, when they've got 20 rand, they don't think about apples, bananas and pears and grapes. They will think of electricity and bread. So that's true that people can be able to be part of the harvest through the traditional leaders. So we are also planting trees there deep in the rural areas. So on Wednesday, we know already which school is planting how many trees, who are the learners that are going to be there, even if it's a holiday, who is the school principal that is going to be there, or the teacher. We know in each police station who's going to be stationed there, how many trees we are planting there, and we are starting to take trees to the planting spaces which are far from, because all the botanical gardens in the country are our tree banks. So if you were to come to any botanical garden in the provinces tomorrow, you are going to find tree, and it's demarcated DFFE tree bank, because those botanical gardens belong to Sanbi, which is one of our entities. So that is where we've been storing our trees, in the tree banks. We have also done to make sure that we don't plant trees that are not root friendly, because we don't want the trees over the years to damage infrastructure. We've also made sure that the trees we are going to plant are not going to need water, and a lot of water, because there's scarcity of water in the country. So we have gone that deep in terms of what we want to do, in terms of the type of trees we are planting, and whether they will not uproot pavings and buildings later on. So all the trees we are planting, we know that they are root friendly and they are not going to give us problems. So we are ready. There are more than 200 schools participating. When we are saying more than 200, those schools have all been called. We've got a list. So for each area we are planting, we've got a map. So you'll be able to follow what gives you 115,000 trees. We've also signed an MOU with the Council of Churches. So all the churches in the country which belong under the Council of Churches, they've provided us with safe spaces to plant, because we know in the church there's a caretaker. Sometimes there's a priest with his or her family living within the church, having a house there, and sometimes there's a caretaker. Because for us, we are saying that even if you have done everything and there's a need to cut a tree, but we don't encourage it. And the architects and the planners of the municipality say there's nothing we can do to construct here or to erect whatever they want to do, whether it's a road, they have to cut a tree. For each tree you cut, you must replace it with 20 trees. If you cut 2 trees, it means you are going to plant 40 trees to replace those trees, because future generations must find the environment intact. They must find the planet intact. We also know that there's the economic side of trees, where we know that the chairs we are sitting on, the tables we write on, the beds we sleep on, the infrastructure that we have, there's wood needed, there's poles needed. That is the economic side of it, because people are always asking me, are you as a department planting trees to collect carbon credits? And we say no. We are planting trees to teach people why there is a need to preserve trees and why it's important. And it even becomes more especially important now because of the floods and the climate change. People just build on the banks of rivers, and there is no planning. And we are saying that trees even become important there, because we are also talking to the traditional leaders, because there is indigenous knowledge exchange there. Long time ago, there were no town planners, but people knew which side of the house must face, which side the windows must face, and why you must have trees so that when the wind comes it doesn't blow away the roof. So we are also doing that indigenous exchange on the knowledge around trees, because our researchers will tell us this tree, you can use it, you boil the water, it will clear a tight chest and whatever. When you get to the traditional leaders and the old people, they tell you this tree, when you've got a boil or a saw, this is what the leaves can do, this is what the roots can do. But for us, what is important is to teach people. Now, the other thing is that where we are here now in Auckland Park is the leafy suburbs. When you are walking under along the paving, there's trees, there's shade. When you go to Soweto, the air quality is different. All you see is roofs of RDPs, there's no greening. So the president always says that he was in Addis Ababa, and when he walks around, everything is leafy, it's green. But when he drives in Soweto, everything is bare. There is not a tree, there is no greenery. So we want that whenever that the Department of Human Settlement hands over an RDP house, a low-cost house, there must be 5 indigenous trees, 3 in fruit trees, and 2 indigenous trees, which means 5 trees. So that one day when we go to Soweto, it's also leafy. And the air quality, because we can drive from here, you will feel that the air is not the same like in Soweto. And it's purely because...
And speaking of Soweto then, that township based here in South Africa, in Johannesburg, the project also aims to create township economies through nursery businesses as well. How do you hope this will assist in those communities? It
will assist because then the culture of people buying trees from a nursery and planting it, because currently I don't think anybody thinks of coming to town to go to a nursery and buy a tree and go back to Soweto. But we want people must find nurseries within the community. They must be owned by young people. They must be owned by women, by people with disabilities. So as the department, we do have nurseries throughout the country where we are grooming young people in the township to own the nurseries, to know the type of trees, to even be able to advise people when they buy trees. Because I'm telling you now that even in Soweto, a tree that grows in Dobsonville might not be able to grow in Naturena, in Freedom Park, might not be able to grow in Dlamini, might not be able to grow in another area in Middlelands. So we want people in the township, according to those nurseries, to own nurseries according to the trees that they're able to grow in the environment. And we also want them to even exchange species of trees, to say that as young people, and we want they must be entrepreneurs. We are grooming green entrepreneurs so that it talks to the climate change as well, because you need young people, because if the future generations don't own climate change and its impact on the environment, and especially around trees, we are not going to achieve what we want to achieve as government.
So the planting, Deputy Minister, will be happening on the 24th of September, as much as government launched this project on July of this year. Those who are not directly involved, what can they be doing to participate in any way?
What they can do, they can go onto our website, which is www.dffe.gov.za. We've got an IT system there. So when you are planting the tree in your yard, you go into the system, you'll be able to upload a picture of your tree, a picture of yourself if you want to. You'll be able to give us your location. We'll be able to count your tree and know that you have participated. And this campaign does not end on the 24th. We know that on the 24th it's Heritage Day. We have partnered with the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, because they are hosting the National Government Heritage Day on the 24th in Oudtshoorn in the Western Cape, where the Deputy President of the country will be the one representing the president, because the president is in Unga. So he's not the president who will plant, but the deputy president. So at that primary school in Oudtshoorn, the deputy president will unveil a multi-sports complex and then plant a tree. So if he's planting at 10 o'clock, the whole country at their different spots will be waiting ready to plant at the same time. So we will have 1 million trees being planted at the same time as the country, and we'll have a telethon that will be being done for us by Prime Media, who have contributed to our campaign by assisting us. They will be helping us to tally our numbers according to the mapping that we have done for the whole 9 provinces. But for us, we are very excited and happy, and we are saying to all South Africans that everybody must plant a tree on that day. You don't necessarily need to be where we are having our main events through all the 9 provinces and planting where we are planting, but we are encouraging all South Africans to plant at their homes. We are encouraging SABC to plant here in Auckland Park. When we are planting, you must also plant your tree to mark our 1,000,000 trees.
Deputy Minister, thank you so much for the time that you have made to chat to us and join us in studio. And I think we're all educated as much as we need to be about the planting of trees. Thanks for all that you're doing. Bernice Swarts is South Africa's Deputy Minister of Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment, and that's where we end that chat. Also then, that's where we end the show today. That's the end of Rise and Shine. Do join us on Channel Africa tomorrow. That will be 6 till 9, and we say goodbye and hand you over to the very capable team of Benjamin Mushatama and Palesa Tao. They've got On the Move coming up next, so stay tuned for that. Right now, though, at 9 o'clock Central African time, let's say good morning to Onele Nzinzi. She's got our news bulletin, and I'm Asanda Peta. Goodbye for now.